Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you my home networking setup as well as run you guys through some of the different services that I have. First I'm going to show you my network setup. So from my ISP I get about 2.2 gigs. That's with my own hardware, so I have my own modem, my own router, standalone modem and standalone router. It's not a combo unit or anything. The router is 2.5 gig, and that goes to a 2.5 gig switch, which goes to my desktop, my Proxmox server, as well as my wireless access point. And then the 1 gig ports that are remaining goes to my Hue lights. So I have a couple of lights that have a Hue bridge that are attached to it. A monitoring laptop. It's always plugged in where I keep the server, and it's always on. It's called Bezel. I'll show that to you guys in a moment. And then as well as Pi-hole. And then on the 2.5 gig side, I have my desktop, which I'm on right now. Proxmox, which has a bunch of containers. And then my wireless access point, which is an Aero Pro 6E, which is in, I believe they call it bridge mode. So it's not acting as a router that's being taken care of. I have a TP-Link router, which takes care of that instead of the Aero. Moving on to the Proxmox server, I have a bunch of different containers for a bunch of different things. I currently only have one node in my cluster. I will be expanding it soon, but as of right now, I only have one. This was kind of more of a test for me just to see what Proxmox is like. It's my first time using it as well. To start, we have something called Glance, which is kind of a dashboard that I use for kind of like a hub to see what's going on and the different kinds of things that are running on the server. So to show you that, this is what mine looks like. I've customized it a little bit. They have default configurations that you can download and just kind of throw up there. But this is mine. So I have, the date, the time, my Pi-hole statistics right here, Jellyfin, anything that I'm torrenting right here, a picture of a random cat, because cats are cool. The overview of the entire node. This is going to be, like I said, it's the only node that I have right now, so it's the only one that would show up. And then the individual containers, so goes through the list of them right there, their usage and their status. So at the bottom here, we have different kinds of hot links for different services that I have. So there's hot links for, the Proxmox virtual environment console, Glance, which is what we're on right now, and various other things we'll get into later. And then right here we have bookmarks. So I have a useful sites section, which is basically just Glance. They have documentation on GitHub, which just shows basically everything you need to configure your page. And then just internet speed right now. After that, we have a Crafty controller. This is what I use to manage my Minecraft server. So coming over to the Crafty controller dashboard, we can see your usage, so CPU, memory, how many servers are online, the players, as well as your storage. I really only have one configured right now. This is the server that I mainly play on with my friends. This is mainly it's easy just to spin up a server. So you can create a new server, and then you can kind of go through, pick what you want and stuff like that. I haven't really gotten too deep into this. Like I said, it's just kind of something to spin up a world really quick and just play with some friends. Next is Nginx, so pretty self-explanatory, just hosting a website. It's nothing really crazy. I also have different R services. So I have currently running Radar, Prowler, and Sonar. That's mostly used for my Jellyfin server as well. So I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but you can do your own research as to how those are set up and how to use those. I have WireGuard as well, so with WireGuard I have a VPN. I use Proton VPN, um, and that encompasses my whole network, so everything is tunneled through that. I have a speed test service here, so actually I already have it up here. I just like to look at sometimes to see what my speed is and to see what's going on at certain times of day. It's mainly just to list in here, to be honest, but sometimes I'll come over here and just look at it. Obviously, some dips here and there, but you can see just kind of what's going on. Jellyfin, again, you can do your own research. Jellyfin is actually really good if you are looking for an alternative to like Netflix, I could say, but obviously with free and open source media. Um, but check your country's rules and regulations about that. Next, I have Cloudflared, which is a tunneling service that I use. Pretty much, I have some subdomains, and what it does is it points a subdomain to a specific IP and port, and it only allows traffic from your device to other people. If that's what I could get the gist of when I read up on it a little bit. But it's super easy to spin up. I use it for subdomains. You might be able to use it for something else. That's pretty much all I have. Oh, I also have something called Bezel that I didn't put in here, but pretty much it shows you kind of an overview on your system about each container as well as the stats on it and what's going on. I keep this pulled up on my monitoring laptop near my server, as well as a separate monitor on my computer that I have just so I can see if anything's behaving incorrectly. This is kind of always running as well. And then another thing, if we come over here, I also use Pi-hole. So Pi-hole is a DNS query blocker. So if we come over here, this is what my Pi-hole looks like. Quite a bit of queries. Usually it's not this much, but pretty much whatever device is utilizing Pi-hole, if it sends out a DNS request and it's on the block list, it will get blocked. So you won't have that connection at all. I have every device on my network being filtered by Pi-hole, except for the Pi-hole itself, as well as, you can see there's a bunch of statistics on it. But pretty much you'll have a block list and you can specify what sites you want blocked. And, if that site pops up, it'll get blocked. Next, I want to show you guys kind of how I have my VPN set up. So this is the same as before, except, it's more spread out now so I could show you what's going on with the VPN. So I use WireGuard with Proton VPN attached to it, and pretty much all traffic, aside from a couple of things, filters through and utilizes the VPN. So it'll have a separate gateway which is pointing to the WireGuard. I guess you could say WireGuard container or WireGuard node. And those are all using the VPN, as well as some other things that are using the regular gateway, such as Nginx, WireGuard itself, of course, and then Crafty controllers, so other people can discover my Minecraft server from outside. And then with Nginx, it's just so other people can see my website. Also, these three down here are also on the VPN. I forgot to put that down there. Let me see if I can do that real quick. So these are also using the VPN, and it's pretty much just a different gateway. Whereas on this one, you'll have like 1.1.1.0 or something like that. It's not exact. Or I guess you could do 192.1.0. Usually for most networks. And then for the VPN one, it'll be something completely different, which would be the local IP address of the WireGuard container. So whatever it is, in my case, it would obviously be different for yours. But then these devices would point to that, and then all the traffic would be sent through WireGuard. The next thing would be Pi-hole. So Pi-hole, like I was saying before, is a DNS blocker. This is kind of how it's set up, where it blocks the DNS queries. So everything on my network is sent through Pi-hole. I'm honestly not too sure whether or not it goes through WireGuard first and then Pi-hole or vice versa, but it only handles DNS queries and nothing else. And then as well, it's not blocking itself. It's not utilizing itself, so that's why it's kind of out of the loop here. But it looks something like this. And then next, this is what my Proxmox setup looks like. I use, for a lot of these, they're community containers from, let me see if I can, helper scripts. So these are really good if you want to spin up something really quick to kind of see, how it's going without much configuration. I used a lot of these, especially for the R suite. You can just kind of download it. You'll copy this script, go into your main node in the shell, and then paste it in. It'll automatically create the container for you. You might still have to do a little bit of configuration, but it's not terrible. But I utilize that site a lot. And pretty much you just have all of your containers here. Pretty much you'll have a node in your data center. In my case, I only have one, so this is all that I have. And then you'll have separate containers or VMs, depending on what you create inside of this. I only have containers so far. I haven't really started working on experimenting with any VMs. I heard you can do something with Windows as well. That's what I was looking for, just so I can play games off of my Proxmox server, as well as obviously Linux and anything else. But this server is actually just a bunch of eBay parts for me personally. I had some old PC parts from when I upgraded my computer. So I have a Ryzen 5 2600X, 32 gigs of RAM. Nope, that's a lie. 16 gigs of RAM. And then I also have a eBay NVIDIA Quadro. I'm not currently using that right now, but I would like to experiment in some kind of GPU accelerated stuff. It's not a crazy card, so I don't really think I could do anything crazy with it. But eventually that's what I would like to do. But for Proxmox itself, it's pretty much just kind of like a basic install. I haven't really gone through much stuff except for the network stuff, just because I had to when I was setting up WireGuard. So that took a little bit, but overall it was okay. And yeah, this is my Proxmox setup here. But I'm going to be looking into other stuff that I'm going to be using it for. I'm also going to be starting to do devlogs on all of this. So whenever I configure something, I'm going to record it and put it up, just so that anybody else that's looking to start this would be following along and kind of learning with me. I am still learning all of this. This is not me giving advice or anything. It's just merely sharing my experience. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave them down below. And I'll see you guys whenever I make the devlog.